also to make sure the customer finds it's actually a win-win situation, right? A lot of people think that, the companies are actually, forcing you to do something. Okay. But, that is part of their business. But, second way of looking, or the other way of looking at it, is, they're helping us also to find what we need. Right. For example, we are watching a movie in Netflix or something, right? If you watch a certain movie, right? So it starts suggesting you, similar kind of movies. So it's up to our human brain whether we want to see that or not. So, it doesn't mean that he's suggesting we see that movie, right? Or a TV series. So it's up to the human brain, right? Human beings have that ability, right? We can, or we may not see. But probably, in suggestion, we might find a new movie or a TV series, which is, we don't know that it existed, right? So it's also a win-win situation for us. Same with e-commerce as well. So recommendation system is, if you look at it in a positive way, it is positive. If you look at it as a negative way, it is negative. Same thing goes with, all the agents as well, right? The robotic, process automation, which is RPA. So this RPA is a very important, platform kind of right now. We have, UPA, RPA, robotic process, uh, automation, which is, in the current trend actually, right? So right from, recommendation systems, whether it is an, automation process, whether it is, IoT devices, right? It's, any kind of agent, for example, in the autonomous vehicles, self-driven cars. So all any kind of, agents or IoT devices you can think of, or virtual assistants also, right? So they communicate and, do the job for you, right? And even the chatbots as well. So in that way, these modern AI agents actually help you in a multiple ways. So coming to the, next important part, right? So it starts with the world, right? Then it goes to the perception, as we have already discussed, and then it goes to the cognition. So cognition is nothing but the memory or the brain, and then it goes to the action, then comes back to the word. Sorry. Now, let us see a few things in much more detail, right? So let us see, them in much more detail to understand what are these AI agents, right? So I think by now, probably you would have understood that, what happens, inside these AI agents and what these AI agents are actually trying to do into the real world. So let us see a few more things to even deeply understand, because, a lot of theoretical understanding is also very important when it comes to generative AI. So generative AI, right? So, to build an application or to, do something, it requires a lot of theoretical understanding as well. So now let us go and, find out what is reasoning particularly, or what is AI reasoning. Okay. So basically this AI reasoning or artificial intelligence reasoning is basically a process, right? Where you try to take a decision. So how do you take a decision? You try to analyze the data, right? You take necessary steps, right? You, rule based, right? Inference based, right? So we try to draw conclusions from a certain statements, right? Uh, you know, so and so on, right? So right from the, contextual understanding or, knowledge, right? It is very important to, develop a skill from the knowledge part. So that is what this AI reasoning actually brings to the table. So coming to what is reasoning, there are four different types of reasoning inside AI. So the first one is logical reasoning, right? So when we talk about logical reasoning, the word itself has the meaning inside, something which has logic, right? So something is based on rule based, right? So that means, if this is happening like this, it may happen like this. So, something you can deduce. For example, if all humans are mortal, Socrates is mortal, then AI deduces that obviously Socrates is a mortal. So directly, we may not say that Socrates is a mortal, but the AI systems can deduct based on the this kind of rule based deduction is basically called as logical reasoning. So next is probabilistic reasoning, right? So probabilistic, the word probabilistic itself tells you that probability means uncertainty, right? So something which is not guaranteed, right? Something which is not guaranteed, something which has which has a probability. That means which has some uncertainty involved in it. So that uncertainty we will calculate, using a particular, I would say, a technical term called as likelihood. So likelihood indicates that what is the chance that something can happen, right? So that is what, so there's a 80% chance that the person is going to get the disease, right? Or the person is going to die, right? Based on the symptoms. So like this, we can reduce and kind of percentage or probability, right? Or uncertainty from the data what we have. It's not certain. Something which is very certain, right? It might be logical reasoning or some other reason. Let us go step by step. Something which is uncertain, let us or we can say that it is a probability reasoning. So next is heuristic reasoning. So this AI usually uses the heuristic method, which is called as the rule of thumb, or heuristics, which is rule of thumb. So now this heuristic reasoning is basically used to solve the problems effectively, right? So it is basically, I would say, like an optimization, right? To find the best possible, um, I would say, best possible outcome for a particular, experiment we are doing. So that is basically called as a heuristic reasoning. So next is machine learning based reasoning. So this uses the data, because we are saying machine learning based reasoning. So when we say machine learning, we are saying, or we are using data to deduce something, or to take a decision, or to predict something, right? To learn something, right? So best example is the conversational AIs, right? Or chatbots, which we are kind of using which are built on algorithms. So these are a few things which we talk about. So deductive, when we talk about deductive reasoning, right? There are, we talk about reasoning. There are three different things, which is deductive, inductive, and abductive. So deductive is basically, dependent upon theory. From there, building the hypothesis, and then observation and confirmation, right? It is like a general rule. So something can be deducted. So inductive is nothing but by observation, trying to understand the pattern. From there, build a hypothesis and then go back to the theory, which can actually prove your hypothesis to be true. So it's like a specific observation, and then from there, conclusion. Because the theory states that this is the thing. So abductive is basically based on observation, right? From there, assumption, right? Then the hypothesis comes, and then the best guess. So it is basically an incomplete observation, but with a best prediction. So next, there are 5 steps of AI reasoning process. The first one is the data acquisition. Second is feature extraction. Third one is model application. Fourth one is inference and decision. Fifth is feedback and learning. So these are the 5 steps which are there, or in the AI reasoning process, or the process for AI reasoning. The first the first one is the acquisition. So in the acquisition, basically data is gathered from the sensors and or databases or from the user inputs. So next is the feature extraction. So feature extraction is nothing but, in a simple terms, to understand, the most features are nothing but the attributes, or you can say columns in the data set in a simple language, or you can say independent variables. So independent variables, right? So what are the important factors or important variables or important features or important attributes or important columns? So there are multiple names which actually contribute for your outcome. So something which can contribute for your outcome is basically called as a feature extraction. So identifying those particular features which are very important to contribute for your outcome. So next is the model application. So these algorithms basically interpret and analyze the data. So next is inference and decision. So these AI, this AI derives insights, right? It predicts the outcomes and suggests the actions. Next is feedback. So feedback is very important. So that's why it's going to ask you whether you are going to like this or not. Based on that, it learns and try to give you the best possible outcome which can be predicted. Okay, so this is what is the process. Okay, so now once we have seen the process, let us also see the challenges which are involved in the AI reasoning. So the first one is bias and fairness. So this AI can inherit bias from training data. So it is very important that this bias doesn't creep up. So that is always the challenge when it comes to the data. So interpretability. So it is difficult sometimes to interpret the deep learning algorithms, because deep learning itself is a very complicated subject, and this sometimes become more complicated when you have uh, you know when the model has to learn so deep, it becomes more complicated and difficult to learn or to understand also for a common person. So uncertainty handling. So it is very important to deal with this incomplete navigation and contradiction part. So next is computational constraints, and these actually include significant resources, right? So I told like using heavy computational or heavy computing power, practical applications. So before that, if you have any questions, you can just put it in the chat. Okay, so I have a question. So I have a doubt. Will reduction in it's not exactly type of AI. This actually comes under AI reasoning, Ashwita. It is actually, under reasoning. So abductive, inductive, and deductive. Okay, so these are basically reasoning. And reasoning is, a lot of people don't focus more on reasoning, but reasoning and logical reasoning is very, very important when it comes to AI systems, because that is how the AI systems actually process. So they don't just give you something which randomly, it will not give you something. It will only deduct from a particular, reason what they have, or I would say particular outcome what they have, based on each step of data, or steps of data what they have. So that becomes a very critical part of any AI systems, whether it's just an ordinary AI system, or whether you talk about agentic AI, or you talk about generative AI. So this logical reasoning becomes a very important part. So any other questions if you have, you can just ask me. So I can just take the questions for a couple of minutes and then we'll move ahead. Sorry. Okay. So I think if you don't have, probably we can move ahead. Okay, great. So I think we can move ahead. Okay. So let us see some practical applications into the AI systems, or when applying this reasoning into the AI systems. So let us see some practical areas. So first one is the healthcare diagnostics. So I always put this healthcare in applications in the, I would say, first priority or the first list, because a lot of projects I have done, most of them I have done in healthcare as well. So it is, I know the importance of them. So it is very important, particularly when you are using a medical data. So it is always suggestible, and or I can say more useful into the healthcare industry, to understand or to diagnose the patient based on the data which is available. So next thing is the fraud detection, right? This is also very important after healthcare domain, right? Because it is very important to identify and predict fraudulent transactions, and stop them. So it is very important that to prevent the fraud rather than reacting after the fraud has been done. Correct. So preventing is extreme or utmost important. So that is in where these AI systems actually try to do, right? So for example, when we are doing a transaction, for example, let us say a credit card transaction. So you are paying actually, right, from a credit card. So right from the time which you enter your details, right from the confirmation, the payment will be done once you enter the OTP, right? So right from once you enter the detail to the payment confirmation, right? There is a maybe some 2, 3, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds probably, based on the amount of model it works, right? So these actually check that whether it's a genuine transaction or not. So that is that is why if you see, for example, if you're doing a UPI payment, you have a PIN, right? So the PIN is mandatory when you have to make a payment. Uh, so the same way, if you swipe your debit card somewhere or credit card somewhere, you have to enter the PIN of the card, right? I'm not talking about this tap and pay. Forget about that. And if you do a transaction from online, you have to enter the OTP, right? So for credit card, usually even for debit card also. So in this while it checks for the fraudulent transactions. Okay. So detecting a fraudulent transaction before it happens. So what happens if it identifies, probably it might not be a fraudulent transaction, but if it identifies that it is a fraudulent transaction, the payment will fail, right? The payment will fail. So you might be wondering that why it has failed. So it might fail, or it would have failed uh, because it has identified that it is a fraudulent transaction. Whether it might be or might not be, but it has identified. So sometimes, if you again do, probably it might happen. So the model has predicted that it might be a fraudulent transaction. So any small doubt, also if it has, it will actually try to stop the transaction from happening, because that is why prevention is better. Correct, no? So next is autonomous vehicles and transportation. So this is one more area which is I would say, coming into the limelight, right? So best example is the Tesla cars, right, which are which is actually owned by Elon Musk, right? So this Tesla cars are basically EV cars, right? And these cars completely have an autopilot system. So they actually, detect, things around them, and they navigate, right? And they work on their own. They have an, I would say, they have an agentic AI, a system, right? Which works inside. Okay. So it modulates the traffic, it identifies. That is why, if you see, there's a distance between each car. There is a uh, distance which has to be maintained. For example, human beings, stop, they stop very near to the vehicle. But, these self-driven cars don't do that, because they know that, if they give here and there jerk, it might hit the vehicle. So, sides as well as front back, they maintain a safer distance in order to prevent this, touching each car, touching off each other cars. Next is smart virtual assistant. So we have seen that there are a few assistants. Best example is the Copilot, right? We have seen Alexa, Copilot, Siri, and so on, right? So next is in the supply chain optimization. So supply chain basically in the field of managing the stocks, right? It is very important that they modulate the inventory and they improve the logistics part. Next is in education field, particularly, it is very important that it focuses on the most important aspect, giving more experiential learning, right? Providing more adaptiveness to the student, right? So I think as I think I mentioned, so AI personalized learning experiences by adapting to student progress. It provides intelligent tutoring and automated, grading. All those things will actually come under AI in education. So next is the cybersecurity and threat detection. So here it basically analyzes the data, or you can say the threats for which it might be vulnerable, right? So predicting the same thing, so identifying a threat and acting upon, before it, I would say, create any unnecessary attack, right, or any damage to the things. So the same way, like in finance, we have seen, right? So detecting the fraudulent transaction and identifying before it happens is what is very important. So the same thing, the same concept actually applies in the field of cybersecurity as well, where prevention of the attack by detecting in advance is very important to prevention of an attack. That is what the AI systems try to do. So next is legal document analysis. So identifying the risk which are involved, identifying the documents for any illegal or something which can be key points. It can also be summarized, right? So probably you would have seen, there is, a new, more AI tools are coming up, in smartphones also you can see that, if you ask, you can summarize the page, right? So, instead of you reading a lot of things, so it will summarize the important points, right? So also, you can link that concept if you're using, right, in any smartphone, you might be, able to understand what I'm telling. So the same thing actually goes for this legal documents as well. So understanding the important clauses, right, it summarizes the important things. Okay, it highlights the risks which are involved. Next is AI in retail and marketing. So when it comes to consumer products, recommendation systems is very important, and this is basically also helps you to experience or improve your shopping experience as well, right? So I was giving you an example of the suggestions which are given based upon your e-commerce platforms. So this is actually revolutionizing the way we buy the products. Next is AI in scientific research. So the scientific research where there are huge complex data sets, right, in the field of medical, climatic control, space exploration. So, everywhere, this in scientific research, AI is playing a vital role. Now, let us also understand some of the drawbacks as well, because I will not say everything is a smooth piece of cake. So that is not going to happen with any technology, right? So it's not going to happen with any technology. So there will be drawbacks, right? So there will be limitations which are involved. So now let us try to understand that what could be the possible limitations which can actually be there. So the first thing is lack of true understanding. So what might the model understand, but it may not truly be that, right? It might not be truly be that. So that is always been the problem when it comes to that is why I confidently tell that artificial intelligence will not replace human beings entirely. That will never happen, because um, you know something which can be truly understood by a human being cannot be understood by a machine, how much ever you train it, how much ever you build it. So the model building in human being is more stronger because the model which is built inside our brain is built by God. He is, he's even more greater than what AI we have built. So his model is more stronger than what we built as a model inside the machines. So lack of true understanding is the foremost very important point when it comes to AI reasoning. Next is bias. Bias is some unfair conclusions or unfair inaccuracies, uh, showing more interest towards a particular thing, right? uh, you know Showing a lot of favoritism, right? How much ever we say that we always go unbiased, so always somewhere or the somewhere or the other, a bias will creep in, right? So I think everybody will agree with me, right? So bias will creep in into any decision making, right? Any how good your model is being built. So more bias will be obviously shown. So that is one more, I would say, one of the key limitations of the AI systems. So next is difficulty handling uncertainty. So if the uncertainty is so much, right? It is like 50-50 cases. Predicting might be very difficult. For example, if it is above 70-75%, right, the probability might be higher. So we might think that yes, this since it is 75% good, yes, this might be the outcome. But if it is very close by, like 51-49 or 52-48 or 50-50, it is very difficult for the AI systems to do the prediction part. So that kind of uh, knowledge, here I've used one word. So truly understand, correct? So truly understanding the scenario and situation and predicting is not possible by a machine. That is only possible by a human being. So this is one of the major drawbacks also in handling the data, which is very close by, and very difficult to predict or tend to a certain outcome. Next is limited explainability and transparency. So this is one more aspect that people will not shed out all the correct information, even though you collect the data, how well you collect the data. So getting the right data and making the right prediction has always been a issue right from right from relying on the data. So this has always been a problem, where it is very difficult to solve this issue. So next is computational and resource constraints. So sometimes we need a huge amount of data. Collecting this huge amount of data is always a problem sometimes, particularly for the field of deep learning. So for machine learning, decent amount of data is fine, but when it comes to deep learning especially, we need a huge amount of data. So collecting huge amount of data has always been a major problem. And I already mentioned this one is computational. So more computing power is required, so which can be very expensive sometimes, right? So if you buy a high-end laptop or a desktop, it costs more. So sometimes people cannot afford. So to run these, sometimes it is very difficult based upon resource management as well. So next is ethical concerns and decisions accountability. So this particularly, the AI lacks this. That means judging on ethics, right? So how much ever we try to incorporate ethics into artificial intelligence, so it is always a human knows ethics well, right? Whether he's following the ethics or not, let us not talk about that. But human being knows more that what should do, what he should not do. But machine, however you teach, how much you teach, there's a high chance that it might commit a mistake. So things are different when you look at different perspectives when you are using AI systems. So next is dependence on data quality. So this has always been a huge issue. With this problem is somewhat trying to be rectified, particularly in the field of generative AI. We already have discussed this with the generation of, I would say, synthetic data sets, right? Which can actually help you to learn about the real problem. So developing of synthetic data sets is more more realistic approach, right, to overcome the problem of data quality. So next is difficulty with creativity and adaptability. So sometimes creative thinking might not be possible with an AI system or an AI machine, which is actually possible with a human being. So human being has that ability to give a creative solution or an optimal thinking, I would say, in certain scenarios, right, which is not possible by a machine. So yeah. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Next, we'll go to the multi-system agent. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. No doubts. Okay. Good. Sorry. Hmm. Okay. let us then do one thing. Let us go for a short break now itself. Okay, so you can just paste your questions or just ping the questions here. Okay, in the meanwhile, even yesterday it was like that. After the break, I saw so many questions. So probably you might be thinking that what you can ask. So you can just take a pause for 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes, and then you can just ping any questions if you have. I'll just answer those, and we can continue with the multi-agent system. Okay. So if you don't have any questions, I'll just start with the multi-agent system after the break. Okay. So just quickly come back. All right. So I hope you're back on the break. So yeah, I got one question today after the break. So can I have ability to form information or content from above, say public distribution domain? Uh, right. Your question is somewhat different, but probably you might know the answer. I don't know why you asked this. See, for example, let us say you have a particular company. So if you want to give access, you want to, maybe digital data you have, you want to give access to a certain, model where you want it to learn, and you want it to, perform. Like perform in the sense that, the model to be built well, right? And to give you an accurate results, it is very important that you have or you give access to public domain data, right? So one example I'll connect, which you already know, which is ChatGPT. You give something, how it is giving, because it has learned on that particular, right from the textbook data or public domain data. So it has, from the web, everything it is learning, right? So it can give, or it can, the new content also it is able to generate based on the kind of learning it has. That is why, generative AI. So yeah, that's what the same thing. What this concept is about. I think you're asking that question only. And that's why I told. Probably you might be knowing the answer. I don't know why you asked this question. That's why I told you that. Okay, fine. So any other questions if you have? Yeah, if you have anything, please ping me. Sorry. Hmm. Okay, you can just ping it. No problem. I'll just continue with what I just want to teach. Okay, so you can just ping it in the chat. I'll answer your questions. Okay. Yeah. Right. So now let us understand about the concept of multi-agent system or okay. Yeah. So let us talk about multi-agent system, right? So I've just given you a glimpse of what is exactly a multi-agent system, right? In a particular, a system of agentic AI, right? Having a multiple AI agents, right? Particularly which have the ability to, uh, you know, communicate with each other, right? Agents which can communicate with each other, right? And build one network, which we are calling it as agentic AI. So that kind of network where there are multiple AI agents which are embedded. So that is basically called as a multi-agent system. Okay, so I just got one question, I guess. Perplexity AI. Sorry, Ashwin, I forgot actually completely. I'll remember today. Probably on Monday we can discuss. Yeah, discuss about it at the end of the session. Okay. Okay. Sorry for that. We'll discuss on Monday. Okay. Surely we will discuss it on Monday. Okay. So along with yeah. So along with anyway, I have to start LangChain. I'm going to end this AI agents. So we'll start with the application LangChain. So yeah, before that, 5-10 minutes, we'll let us talk about Perplexity AI. Okay. So I'll just write it down. Okay. We'll discuss. Yeah. Thank you for remembering, and sorry for me forgetting. Okay, great. Okay. So Right. So now let us see. By now you would have got one understanding that what exactly is this perplexity AI is about, and how this perplexity AI actually or how this actually contributes. That she was asking. We will talk. Okay. Anyway, I'll remember. Okay. So let us focus on the multi-agent system. And coming to the multi-agent system, right? As I told you, right? So multiple agents communicating with each other. So it's like I would say, one ecosystem, right? Where multiple agents are actually living together or, uh, you know, coexisting together, right? They're like friends, right? Living together because they're communicating with each other. Now, so anyway, you know what is an agent by now. Okay, I'm not going to go with what is an agent first of all. All right, so something which can communicate with a environment, which can capable of creating something, perceiving something. Yeah, all these things we have already talked about. So anyway, multi-agent system is nothing but, as I told you, multiple agents communicating with each other. Then we have coordination, right? So coordination, because they are actually, you can if for easy understanding you can think of like this. They have to coordinate with each other because they are like a team, right? For example, if you are playing a game together, let us say you are playing cricket, right? So there are 11 people, so each player cannot play their own different game, right? They have to play for a common cause, right? So that is the goal for that particular team. Same thing for the agent as well. So all the agents should work for a single goal, right? They should not have their own goals, and they should not work of with their own interest, right? So that conflict should not happen. Working together is very important to achieve the common goal, right? So that is what coordination between the agents is. So then we have collaboration, right? So sharing the work is what collaboration is basically. So like, how do you do it in a, I've just given you an example of a cricket match, right? Let us say. So each player has his own role, where they try to focus the common goal of the team, as well as each has their own responsibility, right? So one player is a finisher, one is an opening batsman, right? One is a middle order player, one is a bowler, one is an all rounder, one is a wicket keeper. So each has their own uh, work, which is directly contributing to the common goal. So your individual work should be focused towards the common goal, and the task should be I would say shared between them. So next is communication. So each agent uses this agent communication language, right? And they communicate with each other. So here, if you see single agent, so single agent is individual single decision maker if it is not under the multi-agent systems. So if it is not under one roof of multi-agents, each has their own decision making and each have their own problem solving. Okay, but when it comes to multiple or multi-agent systems, they interact with each other, as I told you, and then they distribute the work, and parallel computing or parallel execution will be done. Okay, so this is one more simple picture for you to understand the multi-agent system, or the multi. So between the agents, and tasks are shared, right? So one will do one task, right? Not all the three or all the four or all the 11 will do the same thing, right? So it is different thing for a different individual. Now, let us see this through some small examples. Okay. So as we know, what is an agent? Agent is a software or an entity which actually does the things through environment, or you can say environment is nothing but the sensors, right? So next is acting. So acting is nothing but the actions or behavior what the agent is actually capable of. Anyway, whether it is a single agent or a multi-agent, they have their own goal, right? They work towards the goal, right? So here together they are doing and achieving for a common goal. And in a single agent, single agent system, that agent is directly responsible for achieving that particular goal. Okay. So next is real life examples. Let us say uh, smart thermostat, right? I think many people know about a thermostat. So thermostat, based upon the temperature or preferences, the temperatures actually increase and decrease accordingly. So heating and cooling will be done based upon the scenario and situation. So it is basically an automation system. So next is multi-agent system. So as we know, it is basically a collection of multiple agents and interaction, cooperation, right? Sharing the work, working towards a common goal. All these are very important perspectives when we call something as a multi-agent system. So some of the real life examples, if we see, it is autonomous drones for agriculture. So if you see here, three agents are there. Let's take in three agents for example. So one drone actually monitors the crop health, uh, right, and the other drone sprays the pesticides. The other one maps the terrain. So three people working for a common goal, which is optimizing the field. Okay, so without the human intervention. So these three agents are working towards a common goal, which is optimizing the field yield. And individually, they have their own goals, which they have to perform. So this is what a classical example or simple example for understanding a multi-agent system. And even yesterday, I was giving an example of smart homes as well. So smart homes is also a classical example of a multi-agent system. So in a smart home, there are multiple agents which work together for a common goal. And one more also example, yeah, even self-driven cars you can think of. So the entire system is a multi-agent system in that you have individual agents working towards the common goal, that is to driving the vehicle, right? And in that, one drives, one identifies the surroundings, right? So one manipulates the, or I can say one agent is a voice assistant. One agent is, tries to identify the light, right, and so on. So like that, they will have multiple agents to do the work. So coordination. So coordination is nothing but coordinating with each other, ensuring uh, they behave in a rightful manner where each that particular goal has been reached. So traffic light agents in a smart city. So smart city, for example, many areas, particularly in cities like Bangalore, if you see, there are many traffic signals which uses this AI agents or agentic AI, because they communicate with each other. In on that, they try to adjust the traffic signals. That means where the traffic is very light, right, the green signal will be more. And if it is very high, it will try to uh, make sure that it doesn't get congested, and lights, red light and green light, are modulated according to the scenario, so that the traffic signals are the traffic is modulated correctly. So you have a lot of AI based traffic signals, particularly in the city like Bangalore. So many are there. Next is collaboration. So, collaboration is nothing but working together on a particular common objective, right? So, robotic warehouse system like the Amazon robotics. So, they actually, in manufacturing, you can think of, or loading the, goods into, vehicles. So, you can, load of areas where the robotics or a robot is actually used inside, or I can say by a company like Amazon. So next is communication. So communication is between, communicating between agents, so that conflict doesn't so the conflict doesn't occur, and the protocols are not breached, or I can say the protocols are followed rightfully to you know, reach to a standard approach, right? The first one is agent communication language, which is ACL. So defines how agents express requests, inform actions, or negotiate. Next is FIPA, so Foundation of Intelligent Physical Agents, a set of standards for agent communication, interaction protocols, and platforms is maintained by a certain standards. So this is how things work by using of artificial intelligence. So predicting the natural disasters, right? That's why I just put this picture. Probably you would have identified that I was talking about disaster disaster management, right? The first application is disaster management. So that is where AI is trying to be used more particularly uh, to I would say to risk or you can say to reduce the risk of human lives, particularly rescue bots, supply drones, right? Probably you would have seen this happening in multiple places, right? Next is this is how these are actually happening. So you need not have a human being going in there and trying to do the job. So next is, let us see what is perception in artificial intelligence, right? So we have seen, what are multiple agents, but in agentic process, let us see in detail that what is this perception about, because we have talked about this perception and, reasoning particularly in detail. As a part of that, we have spoken about the, multi-agent system as well. So coming to the what is the perception part? So perception is basically it's a process where we are interpreting from the environment. So learning things from the environment, right? That is what basically this perception is about. So in perception, we have multiple steps. One is the data collection, extraction, interpretation, and the decision making. So these are not new steps which are you're seeing for the first time in perception. So these are familiar steps which you already know, right? So they are the same which you have for other things also. The same process which follows for the perception in AI as well. For example, collection like using the IoT devices, as I already told you, like camera, microphones. There are many. Now, if you see, a lot of sensors are there which you collect devices. Correct? No, that is why I was telling you about IoT devices. So feature extraction is one of the aspects as well. So identify the key patterns and features in the data, or objectives or attributes in the data. So then interpretation using the machine learning models or deep learning models, we try to extract the useful information from the model building, understanding the patterns in the data, right? And accordingly, the fourth step will be, which is the decision making part. So on what we have processed, the decision making will be done. So types of AI perception, we have four important types in AI perception. One is visual perception, then we have auditory perception, tactile, and then environmental perception. So these are the four important, right? So let us break down into easier way to understand. So visual perception is nothing but something which can be seen, right? Like images, videos, something which can be used to identify, right, by any visual, whether it's an image or a video, right, as a something which can be seen, because the word itself tells you that the perception is a visual one, right? It will be shared, Purnima. Please wait. You'll get the attendance link. Okay, after 8:30, you'll get it. So please wait. Okay. So next is the auditory. So as the name suggests, auditory is nothing but something which you can hear, right? Audit, right? So something which is from sound, right? So either it might be speech. So for example, you're able to hear me because, right, I'm speaking. There is some sound produced, correct? No? So, best examples are voice assistants, all these things are auditory perception. Next is tactile. something which is detected tactile is nothing but something which with hand you put some pressure on it. For example, if in a simple way, you can say touch sensors. For example, like a fingerprint sensor in your mobile phone, right? So something which can be detected by a touch is basically, or by feel, say, yeah, in simple language. So that can be defined as a tactile perception. Okay. So next is environmental perception. So environmental perception is nothing but by the feel, right? How do you feel? So if, for example, temperature. So if somebody tells you that there is 30 degrees outside, so how do you feel 30 degrees, right? So how do we have machines to detect it, but okay, it feels like 30. It is even more hotter. So you feel that. That is what environmental perception is about. So let us see the challenges in AI perception. So noise and ambiguity is one such problem, right? So distorted sounds. So something which can be unclear. Even it's not about just sound. It's also about something which is not clear through in the point of images as well, right? It's not just about sound which has some ambiguity. It's not just that. So even the images can be unclear, or which are not very clear to identify or to learn or to collect the data from. So context understanding is, obviously we have talked about this. I think we have talked so much about this, right? So the real scenario, situation, or true understanding can never be done by a machine like how a human being actually does. So that part you can always put in the challenge. So that is one of the major challenges in the entire AI system. Correct now? Next is ethical concerns. So this also we have actually talked about because privacy concerns issue with the data, which is actually or can be uh, you know used by companies. So that can be even surveillance systems and all. So data privacy has always been a major issue. So now let us see the integrations of perception into the AI systems. So right from getting the real time data, right from doing the processing, right from decision making, and something there is a lot of integration into the AI systems. So let us see how these are actually integrated into the AI systems. The most important thing is sensor fusion and data collection. So we have spoken about this, right? We have not talked about something called as a lidar. So lidar is basically sensors which actually come in autonomous vehicles. So these are which actually connect the, or you can say collect the data, right? So these sensors are basically used for navigation purpose inside a autonomous vehicles or self-driven vehicles. So second is pre-processing and feature selection. So the feature extraction. So here we are collecting the all important data, and we are actually converting something, whether it is from speech to text or text to speech. So based on important scenarios, we are processing the data. So and also selecting the most important features which are required for our process is what basically this pre-processing and feature extraction is basically about. Next is integration with AI models. So here, if you see, processing using an assistants, particularly using an images, is very important, particularly in the field of medical. Next is real time. Just a minute. Okay. So next is real-time adaptation and feedback loops. So here you can actually identify the continuous learning, improving the data. So this you can link it to something like a reinforcement learning. So fourth point is basically depend upon reinforcement learning. So reinforcement learning is nothing but learning from feedbacks, training again on new data, right? Building the model. So these all things come under reinforcement learning. So as a part of that, you can also think of a classical example, which is the smart home assistants, right? So that is based upon the learning it has, right, and the amount of understanding on the data it has. So next is collaboration of AI reasoning and action modules. So this one actually relies on contextual data. So this is what mostly generative AI is more focused on. That means based on certain context, based on certain scenarios, how to understand and how to do a certain task. That is what this collaboration with AI reasoning and modules is basically about. So challenges, data overload, because usually a huge amount of data requires a lot of computational parts. So obviously, integrating with multiple sensors, or large scale sensors generating huge amount of data. So always this data processing issues will come, data computational issues will come. So latency issues is nothing but processing the real time data is huge issue with the integration of AI systems. So sensor accuracy and reliability. So sometimes perception can lead to incorrect AI decisions. So yeah. Next is action in AI. So we have seen reasoning, perception. Now let us see what is action inside AI systems. So if you have any questions, you can just post it. Okay. So I just wait for a couple of minutes. If you have anything, you can post. This is on Gen AI, man. It's not on Power BI. I don't know. Maybe you could have enrolled in a wrong class. It's on Gen AI and Agentic AI. Okay, I hope no questions. Paul, this is not a Power BI class. Probably you can talk to the XLR team later. You can just quit the class and you can. This is on Gen AI and Agentic AI. Okay, so let us continue our class. So let us talk about actions in artificial intelligence. So what are the actions which are involved? So we have seen what is the perception, what is reasoning in AI, and the third and foremost and the important one as well is the actions. So actions tell you that what kind of informed decisions or tasks which are actually taken based upon you know based upon this perception and reasoning what actually has happened. So it is basically performing or taking a certain informed decisions you can think of. So how does this work actually is decision formulation and then execution, right? So the next thing is feedback loop. So decision formation, like decision formulation is basically on selecting the appropriate responses. Execution is based upon executing a certain task on a certain text, right? Or based on a certain activation system. So next is the feedback loop. So it actually evaluates the outcome of the actions, right? So I think you might be, you already know what is a feedback. So types of actions in AI, right? So there are three important actions which are there in AI systems. One is the physical actions. So these are basically you can see these in one example is the robotic vacuums. So these are actually something which can be identified by a physical, something which is physical, which can be seen and feel, right? So for example, like some obstacles when a robotic vacuum is actually cleaning the floor, right? And then, or it is vacuuming the floor. Next is digital actions. Digital actions are nothing but something which is can be done online, like the chatbots, right? Virtual assistants. All these things come under digital actions. So next is automated decisions. So this actually based upon something which can be done in real time without human intervention. For example, selling a stock market share. So buying or selling. So you can set it up, something at this price. If it comes, please buy this. So you can set this up. So these are basically something which can be done automatically by not requiring a human intervention. So what are the challenges in AI? So basically, accuracy and precision plays a very important role because exactly what we are looking for and what is the outcome, so they have to match in a certain way. Next is real-time responsiveness. So this is very important, particularly in reacting at the correct time or reacting to a situation where it is mostly required. So that is always been a challenge because we already have discussed this point also, because uh, human being has more intelligence, or you can say more thought process when to react and not to react, that a machine will be actually lacking. So next is ethical and safety considerations is the consequences or the actions are, it's very important that these should be actually in a correct way, or you can say an intended way, where the it should follow the ethics. So let us next go to the important, I would say, the most, a lot of people might be using. So it might be fun. This concept is actually fun. So it is based upon the chatbots, right? You would have detected or identified, just by looking at the image. So let us talk about chatbots. Okay. So chatbots are applications which are used to communicate with the human beings, right? So particularly in customer care or basic automated tasks, you can see these chatbots. So you can see in different Flipkart bot is there, Zendesk bot, HDFC bot. So not just these three examples, you have a lot of chatbots in many websites, right? Nowadays, which are used to used for communicating with the customer. So mostly, customer support is have become a very crucial thing, or just answering some basic questions. Chatbots have become more famous actually, kind of right now. So this is you now everybody knows. Before, people didn't know that they were talking to a chatbot, but now they know that they were talking to their, because even you're getting an automated calls from customer service, which is an automated call. So Yeah. So, just for a minute or so, we might not identify. So, once they, talk sometimes, and then, after a bit, we might realize, oh, it's an automated call. So, yeah. So, what are the key features are basically these chatbots are rule based and AI, AI powered. And, most of them are, so most of them basically are from messaging platforms, right? And can answer common questions. They are not extremely intelligent uh, to to answer big questions. So they are basically just at a just at a rule based, so at a small level or a certain level. So then, what are the limitations? Are basically predefined scripts, and then it may fail if you ask some complex questions. So that is obviously there. So this is the first question you might see when you start using a chatbot. So what can I help you with? Correct now? So next, let us go to what is a virtual assistant. Okay. So let us try and understand that what is a virtual assistant. So probably you might be seeing this chatbots in many in many websites. Correct now? So probably you might be using as well. So now let us talk about virtual assistant. I think, okay. You have any questions? Uh, oh, sorry. It will be uploaded in LMS. You can just put your questions here. Okay, I guess no questions. Fine. Let me continue then. Okay. So yeah, actually, I didn't explain about virtual assistant, but I think just in just in a correct time you asked this question. Chatbot is just a rule based. For example, chatbot will have only a limited queries. For example, something which is not given for them. For example, some basic questions, right? If you have used chatbot before, uh, you know you might figure it out that after if you ask something which it's not supposed to give, right, it will say I will contact to the customer care, right? So why? Because it is only trained on very simple things. So something which is trained on a very simple things, and it can only answer a limited questions, that is basically a chatbot. But virtual assistant is not like that. So virtual assistant is something where it can process heavily, right? For example, like Google Assistant, right? So Google Assistant is not a chatbot. Google Assistant is a virtual assistant. That is why you see the word they have put Google Assistant, right? Because it is actually a virtual assistant. So something which has that ability to process more from the data, it will have access to the data as well. So that is basically a virtual assistant, and it can process a few things, and it can answer, it can also answer a few questions. It can give you, something. For example, like the, GPT models, you can consider them as a virtual assistants as well. So something which can answer, for example, if you are asking anything in Google Assistant, it is answering you, right? So it is not just saying that, I don't have this, I don't have that. Okay. Something which is, illegal, if you are asking, it will say that I cannot answer this and all. But something which is in legal domain, which, if you say, how to make arms. So, it might not answer because it is illegal for a common person to make arms. So yeah, so it restricts itself, but apart from that, all the things which it can actually understand, and it can process, that can be done by the virtual assistant. So now let us see anyway, that thing anyway I'll explain to you. So before going that, to understand what is a virtual assistant, so an independent contractor who provides administrative services to clients while operating outside of the client's office. So this is the, a dictionary definition of a virtual assistant. So now let us see this one linked to a technical, uh, you know, technical examples into the real world. So these are basically, as I was telling, as I was answering a particular doubt, these virtual assistants are basically advanced AI agents, right? Not like chatbots. So chatbots are basically limited to a certain questions. Beyond that, they will, try to say that yes, let me connect to the customer care. You can, or you will get your question being solved. So these virtual assistants are much beyond, the simple Q&A, but they can integrate and create a lot of services, right? They can integrate into the applications. So best example is, Amazon Alexa, and Microsoft Cortana, right? Copilot now, then Google's Assistant, and Apple's Siri. So all these things are virtual assistants. Yeah. So now let us go to the next, part where, let us talk about the chatbot versus the intelligent virtual assistants, right? So on the right hand side, you can see that it's a chatbot, and on the left hand side, you will see that it's a human being, but it's very intelligent that it can answer, a lot of questions. That is why they have, put the image as a human being, because virtual assistants are, but bit more intelligent compared to that of the actual chatbots. So the key features in a virtual assistant are it can understand the NLU, which is the part of natural language processing. And then it can also set reminders, emails, right? So all these things it can actually, maybe you can, probably, you would have used it, right? So set a reminder in your, calendars, right? Or from your emails, right? So many of you would have actually used these services as well. So, capable of multi-turn conversations and proactive suggestions also it can do. So, limitations is, yeah, obviously the privacy concern, because you're giving your permission to the virtual assistant. That means it is accessing your data. So that is one of the, attribute, obviously, to have the full privileges of AI, that risk we have to take as a normal person. So next is requires constant updates and context awareness for effectiveness. Okay, so this is where I wanted to end. But if you have any questions, you can just post it in the chat. I'll answer them. We have around 5 minutes left. So if you have any questions, please you can ping it. I'll answer. So attendance also you can mark the attendance. While marking, you can post the questions as well in the chat. Yeah. So is posting the is posting the attendance as well. Probably you can mark the attendance. Along with that, you can post your questions so that I can answer them. So if you don't have any questions, maybe a couple of minutes later we can. Yeah. So hands-on, first of all, we will be doing some of the applications using the LangChain that we are going to do from Monday's session. So I'll start with probably Monday or Tuesday. I think Monday we'll start a bit of practical, right? So maybe 1 2 sessions on practical we'll do. Then we'll go into bit of 1 or 2 sessions into, because there are some more concepts also to be explained. But let us not have entire theoretical part. So let us just break it down. So probably Monday, Tuesday, I plan for a I have planned actually for a not planned for actually a bit of practical part. On particularly LangChain. So you can just explore LangChain also. So LangChain probably you would have heard or may not heard. Okay, no issues. I'll explain what is a LangChain and why it is an important architecture. In building an application, how that thing works. So first we'll focus on LangChain, then slowly we'll take it on to one of the important one more architecture which is Hugging Face. So that is also I'm planning for to make it work. So yeah, I don't know how much you'll be able to take, but it's okay. Just try to focus on how much of understanding you can actually take it. Uh, you know. For processing of AI applications, how an AI application which you are seeing right now and using right now, how they are actually built. So that process we will see in a simpler way. I'll try to make it very simple to for you to understand. Yeah. Yes, Ashwati. So your perplexity AI, I will I will remember. I'll write it down somewhere. Okay. So just let me write it somewhere. Okay, that I should not forget. Okay. So I'll remember this perplexity AI. Yeah. So LangChain, LangGraph, you would have heard of. So yeah, probably we'll try to implement that. So mostly it is actually using Python, but it's also built using JavaScript. But we'll try to try to use this language model. Okay. So you have a platform actually for LangChain. Okay, but yes, you will receive. It's uploaded. Sorry, it will be uploaded in the LMS. So this is a LangChain actually. I've shared you the LangChain website. From there, actually, we will be, we will how this application runs, land graph and all. We will, so okay, how these GPT models, how these are actually integrated, uh, into this and all. I'll explain. Then we'll go with a bit of application oriented. Okay, so how this can be done. So that I'll show you. Okay, so yeah, at least Monday, Tuesday, we'll go with the LangChain part. A couple of sessions on LangChain. Then probably we can, take up a bit of again some theory. We can pick it up on Wednesday, which is bit of things are there. So yeah, man. Fine. That if you don't have any questions, we can wind it up. Only Ashmita, yeah, we will anyway. LMS sir will put it. I shared with sir anyway. You'll get it. That should not be a problem.
That is already uploaded over the LMS day one today.
Yeah. Then yes, sir has already uploaded, it seems. So you can actually, uh, you can check that. Yes, 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 yes. Fine, sir. We can end it. I think no questions, only about the material they were asking. That's it.
Okay, yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you, guys. We'll see you on Monday. Happy weekend. Bye bye. Yes, please check material is